Hi guys, this is Allison from Alley Cat Creations. How are you? Blessings. Please don't forget, if you like anything that you watch on my channel, don't forget to hit that like button, share, because it's caring, Amish mindset, and subscribe, because I put out a lot of different types of content on my channel. If you get anything from my work, a connect the dot, an epiphany, a mind explosion, a new book to read, a new author to explore, please consider supporting my work. All those links are in the description of this video. Pyramids, hearts, artwork, all different types of fun things. Check out my portfolio at alleycatcreations211.com. And finally, one thing down. This pyramid is going to be auctioned off, kind of raffled off, not auctioned, raffled off. It's $100 value. In the community tab of my channel is all the information that's there. Channel members get a free entry. So if you're a member, you get a free chance to win this pyramid. For everybody else, the entry is $5. The drawing is January 3rd, and that will be during a Friday Night Live. I will draw a winner. And there might be some other exclusive giveaways that day too. We'll see. If you do enter, please let me know that you're entering for the raffle, how many drawings you would like, tickets, numbers. I'm thinking numbers right now and do a number generator. We'll see how many people actually want this pyramid. So all that information's on the community tab. January 3rd, $5 entry. And email me if you would like to join in on it. I do snail mail as well. And I can give you my address and all that fun stuff. Yeah, so someone will win this pyramid packed with a lot of gems. I had to go through all of my pyramids and pick something out that I know that everybody at home would enjoy and has some good energy coming out of it. All of my stuff has good energy, by the way, but this was calling to me, so this is the one that wins. So if you're interested, go to my community tab. All the information for that is there. Um, Paint and sip. I haven't picked a day yet, but this is what I'm thinking. Someone was skidding on the outside of my block. I'm gonna do a gnome in a foresty scene. That will be the first paint and sip. I haven't figured that out just yet. Because I do want to do a video of me actually painting it. I drew it out, so I don't do things conventionally like other people. I don't know if we noticed this by now. I want to be able to like paint with you guys and not just show you the painting and then do another one. Waste of canvas. So I drew it out. Um, I think it'll be very cute. And I think one of the crafts I might do, like a witch ball or an ornament or whatever you want to make it to be. Um, I'm still looking around my house for stuff. But those will be, if you would like to participate, they're going to be on Zoom. Um, if you're interested, it's donations. If you do not have money, that's okay. Let me know. You're more than welcome to join. Um, by the middle of the week, maybe the weekend, I'll post like what you need if you want to do it on canvas or a piece of paper, whatever have you. I'm not biased. And I will post the information also on the community tab. This is just a way to hang out with me, paint, have some coffee, or if you want some bubbly, and just have a really good time and get a little bit of an art painting lesson. Up to you. So yeah. Sorry, I have a lot of intro-y stuff. I normally don't, but I am excited to try new things here. Because if you got to get some different results, got to do different. All right. The Voice of Isis, Chapter 6, the 11th Commandment. Quote, "But we beseech you, brethren, that ye study to be quiet and to do your own business." End quote. 1 Theologians. Quote, "Wist ye not that I must be about my Father's business?" End quote. St. Luke. Quote, "Beware of fear that spreadeth like the black and soundless wings of midnight bat between the moonlight of thy soul and the great goal that loometh in the distance far away." End quote. The Voice of the Silence, Blavatsky, Fragment 3. Oh boy. In the life of every earnest seeker about after truth, after the first enthusiasm of the awakening to his spiritual possibilities and the wonder of his newly found joy, there comes a period of depression in which everything seems to fail him, and a shadow of discouragement, almost lack of faith, seems to spread over him. In his mind, questionings arise at first fleeting, then growing more persistent. After all, is the great change that has come into my life worth the effort I made to give up old ideals and conditions and remodel my life? Are these new ideas practical, or are they more ephemeral sophistries which fail me in my hour of need? And the teachers to whom I have listened, are they not human beings full of frailties, like myself, with no higher wisdom for my guidance, with nothing to give me that I have not already of myself? Oh, this is like brilliant work. Woo! A great fear possesses him. Least conditions beat him back and compel him to resume the old treadmill of his former life, without hope and without being able to contact the spiritual power that sustained him at first. All his beautiful soul experiences looked at from this slough of despond now seem to have been but fantastic imagings, and the cry goes forth, what is the use of all this struggling? At this point, unless some understanding of the law is grasped, the seeker is apt to slip back, apt to repudiate all the good solutions and vows he has made to his higher self, and Like the man from out whom the unclean spirit was cast, he then takes on unto himself seven other unclean spirits of worry, doubt, fear, and discouragement. And his last state is worse than the first. If, however, it is pointed out to him at this time, that this depression is but a natural phenomenon, through some phase of which most seekers pass, and which is just a natural as night of darkness after a day of sunshine, he will be able to take advantage of this night period of the soul to strengthen his courage and faith. Dark night of the soul! Woo! Guys, this is fantastic. What? I'm excited. Why? Because this is like everything. Honestly, if you honestly, I don't care who you are, what you do in the awakening process, where you are in your process. This is, I've gone through this a bunch of times already in my life. Like deep down, abysmal dark night of the souls. I've had a bunch of them. I had one over the summer. It was brutal. And now I'm in another type of dark night of the soul. This is also a different type of brutal, because the over the summer shadow work I had to do was more about personal self relationships with others and my boundaries with what I have to step into. This one's on the career path. Like, I just got emailed a bunch of, sorry, the positions have been filled for the season, like seasonal jobs I applied for. I kind of knew that was going to happen, foresight kind of. But at the same time, like, I'm putting myself out there. So if an opportunity does present itself, I put the energy in to get it and obtain it. But I don't know what the path I'm going on. As my bank account is dwindling in close to nothing, it's getting really, really scary. And the bills and inflation just keep climbing. The only bill that has gone down is my car insurance. Everything else has escalated. Like, I just got my homeowner's insurance and that went up by $30. That's a lot. I don't know what to do. Like, yeah, things do rise, but I'm only here January 1st, 2 years. And since coming here, everything escalated to a point of where it drains my what I saved up for. Tobacco, guys. And not hear about me. This is about the book, but I just want to, everything I just read, apply it to your life because it is valid. I'm in this situation right now. I'm not fearing, I am not doubting myself. Like, I'm pushing forward each and every day. I'm doing like a raffle, a non-expensive one. I could have like made the entry fee $10. I'm not doing that. I want, like, my job is to make sure that more than two, three people can afford it, right? Like, myself as a service to others. I'm doing a paint and sip with the donation base. Like, whatever you want to give me, that's great. And come and hang out and have fun. Like, these are the things I'm putting into practice. I'm not shortchanging myself. It's being practical. And I'm just taking you guys on my journey, whether that's good or bad, right? But I want to impress this on you guys. Like, I have gone through a bunch of these and it's painful and it sucks, but it's so worth going through because when you come out on the other side, you just see a bigger and brighter and broader picture of the potentialities that exist. So please understand, for many of you that woke up and now it's like, holy shit, right? That's going to happen. And if it hasn't happened to you yet, count on it happening. It needs to happen. It's not a luxury. Like awakening is not a luxury. It's not this magical, fanciful sparkle fart and unicorn heaven. It's not that. It's a lot of work. It's not easy work, but it's fulfilling work and it's soulful work. It's meant to be there for a reason. So I just want you guys to know you're going to walk through a bunch of these in different assets and facets in your life. Like over the summer, that was like the big wake up call for me to be like, okay, guess what? You woke up, girl. It sucks. It feels like horrible shit, but you did not allow a pattern to keep going and going and going and looping. You put a halt. You felt something. You knew inside it wasn't okay. And you put action into motion to empower yourself, even though it hurt like a fucking son of a bitch. You stopped a pattern from continuing. And even now, I give people second chances when deemed necessary. And I don't let shit slip anymore. I'm talking, I'm hey, I have needs too. Life happens. I don't require much from other people to make me happy. I know what makes me happy. If you can't fulfill those little things that I ask for another person to do for me, yeah, that thing. Right? We're all going through those different facets and different things. Now it's hitting my career path. I haven't had a long-term career. My careers somewhat get like almost want to kill me, literally. This is twice. Now we're on the same career, but in a different area. And it's not paying my bills. So what is this telling me? In the meantime, I'm here. I'm happy. I love what I do. It's the mission I'm been brought here to do. But now I have to figure out what other avenues can I take to get and to succeed, because this is not making me succeed. Do you see what I'm saying? Like I'm in the pain, I'm in the suffering of the now moment where I'm like, okay, I can't get bills paid. What do I do? What financial situation do I need to take? What avenue, right? Like this is the same shift period that it's talking about. I'm just applying my situation in the words. So it's easier for you and many others to understand. If you understand that, that's fantastic. But I get a lot of people who don't quite grasp the dark night of the soul kind of deal. And I'm in one right now, but in a different facet of my life. It's the career aspect of my life. It's like no matter what I've ever done in my life, I've never gone above a certain amount of money. I've never achieved six figures. I have never achieved more than 40,000 a year. Everything is less. Poverty at the moment. And that's something I never wanted to strive for. Right? Who wants that? I went out and did what I needed to do in life to succeed, and I have yet to succeed in my standards. Being successful, I'm definitely successful in being alive. It's true. But I just wanted to bring that as a contrast for you guys to understand. If he turns to the Bible for comfort, he will find it in the 23rd Psalm. Yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. The period of depression is indeed the valley of the shadow of death, the shadow of the death of his high ideals, a valley in that it is a depression between two heights. And just as surely as he has descended from one height into the valley, so must he, if he persevere, climb the height beyond. But if he insists on walking up and down the valley for lack of courage to essay the height ahead, the shadow will descend and enwrap him. Beware, disciple, of the lethal shade. No light that shines from spirit can dispel the darkness of the neither soul, unless all selfish thought has fled therefrom. It is the shadow of thyself outside the path, cast on the darkness of thy sins. The rod and staff are given to every disciple, not only to learn upon, but also as an alpine stock with which to climb the mountains of attainment. There is an old injunction, often used in a spirit of impatience and anger, or flippantly alluded to as the 11th Commandment, yet which consists and contains a deep occult significance. Mind your own business. The 10 Commandments given to Moses seem to cover all phases of mortal life, so that he who keeps the Decalogue does his whole duty to God and man. Yet while the 10 and the decimal system is accepted as perfection in worldly affairs, the duodecimal 12 is a system often used in the computation of occult periods. Hence, the seeker who is striving to live above mere worldly affairs, who is striving to shape his life in accord with the deeper mysteries of existence, has need of 2 more commandments to make up his decalogue. Whereas the 10 commandments were delivered on Mount Sinai amidst thunderings and lightnings, the 11th and 12th commandments are given by the still small voice that speaks in the silence. The 11th commandment may sound irrelevant, but in its occult significance, it is far from being so. For if obeyed, it covers the period of depression referred to above. The significance of the 12th commandment can only be grasped when the 11th has become a part of your life. Each one of you who chooses, after due deliberation and meditation, to set for yourself a divine standard of life, has entered upon a new business, one which vitality concerns yourself. And at very onset of this new business, you must meet yourself face to face, take account of stock, and find out what your real business is. To mind your own business does not mean merely negatively to refrain from interfering with business of others, although that is included. The deeper meaning is to find out what your own business is, then actively to be about it. This applies particularly to you who have determined to live the higher life. You who have passed through the ecstasy of the awakening and are now passing through the natural reaction, the slough of despond, the valley of the shadow of death. The reason for the depression is that the moment you say to your higher self that you will henceforth live in accord with the will of that self, working through you, you find yourself face to face with your old personality. This personality is composite, the aggregate of the factors and forces of the age in which you live. That is, it is made up of elements from all the lower kingdoms, mineral, vegetable, animal, as well as the mental traits and tendencies that are the karma, not only of the soul, but also of the age, the race, the nation, the community, and the family in which you live. All of which are literally built into your physical, astral desire and mental bodies, a microcosm and very truth. Because this personality and its trait are not altogether your own, but are taken from the various kingdoms and other sources. The instant you determine to break away from the bonds of the flesh and express your real self, you take all these varied factors out of their customary vibration and impose upon them the will of the higher being. Your true self. The new keynote is resisted by all the elements in the personality as well as in the environment, and combined opposition of all its forced and focused upon you. There is aroused within you every sleeping tendencies which heretofore you did not recognize nor even suspect. Many of these are but the reflex effects of the thought currents of the community. Others are tendencies stimulated by the influences of the zodiacal signs in which you were born, acting in a negative way. Also, the negative aspect of your planetary influences, all acting upon the atoms of your personality through your subconscious mind, uncontrolled by the human consciousness, to say nothing of inspiration from the superconscious mind. You find yourself in the condition of St. Paul speaks of. Quote, I find then a law that when I would do good, evil is present with me, end quote. And more determined you are to do the will of the divine self, the more unsuspected tendencies you find within you to transmute. Tendencies which were quiescent or sleeping as long as you advance passively with the current of the community, but which are now awakened and fighting for life. Pause. Holy fucking shit. Hi. I'm so giddy. A lot of us, including myself, is absolutely going through this right now. Right now. I'm going through this right now. In multiple ways, not just like the job thing, the community thing. It's taking me a long time to put my boundaries and step my standards up to not initiate in hate. And that's hard to do with people I love unconditionally. My brothers, my sisters, my soul sisters, my soul brothers that I really do enjoy speaking to and being a part of their lives. But yeah, there is so much emanating hate within them that I can no longer partake in those things that I once really highly enjoyed and thrived on. And it took me a while to put into place my foot to say, no, this is not the course of life that you want to be among. You can love them from over there. This is the hardest aspect for myself in this time and now. And I know many of you are feeling the same effects. Many of you who watch me and what in the similar communities that we are also a part of, I know many of you are taking that step back and evaluating what you are reading in chats and what's being projected at you from some people. I know it to be true that many of you have stepped away. Not to say that you're not supporting and you're not there, you are, but you're putting your fine line in when you're going to give your response and what you're allowing your consciousness to actually see. And it's not because we're triggered, it's because we're living a divine life. in the law of one, for the multitude of people who have read it and perceive it differently, I know that I'm not just a service to others, I am a service to source. That has very difficult responsibilities that I'm taking in now. We're all going through this to some level. All of us. The higher your light, the first medium I've ever went to, a very long time ago, looked me in the eye and said, "You are one of the brightest lights I've ever seen. You are attracting the negative of negative things because your light's so bright and they want to dim it." I have never feared the evil side, the dark side. I was more curious about it than anything else, but I never let that side get the best of me. I will say the same thing to all of you. They're going to try the thought forms and what people project at you. They're going to try to slow you down. Try your best to just ignore it. Not to say that it's not there. Protect your aura, protect your shield yourself up every day. Have a routine that you do to cleanse your spirit, your soul, your body, and all things. And those are just permission slips, by the way. I like my permission slips. They work, right? And then when they don't work, you find some other modality to help you have a permission slip. But we're going through this right now. It's walking through and inputting and integrating the information of what you are learning for yourself, what you're integrating into your being, into your essence, and actually applying it, walking it, and living it in the current moment. It is absolutely not easy. And the reason why it's not easy is because you want to be amongst everybody else. You don't want to be that person left out of the crowd. You don't want to be not thought of or given respect and credence. I don't need those things to thrive and live on. I know personally it does hurt to an extent. I'm getting over that. I have to do what's good for me. I can't be exposed to the hate. And the hate is coming from very loving people. I cannot impress that kind of information on people because full of source. So we're all walking this path and it's not easy, it's difficult. And that's just one aspect, an arena of what we're running and walking through. But know what they're saying is happening to a lot of us in the current moment time. So please be consciously aware of it and then give yourself compassion and grace because you're walking the path that your soul wanted and needs. Do not confuse the subconscious with the superconscious mind. Mind as is so commonly done. The subconscious is the animal mind, that which is below the threshold of human waking consciousness. As sub means under or below. It is the sum total of the consciousness of all the cells, organs, ganglia, and centers of the consciousness in the animal body synthesized by the animal soul. It controls all the vegetative functions, such as respiration, circulation, digestion, reflex action, etc. It is also the mind that automatically reproduces that which is impressed upon it by human consciousness, such as a harmonious or inharmonious attitude toward life, ideas of health or disease, weakness or power, etc. Hence, it can be called upon to adjust only such conditions as come within its domain, for it is but the servant of man's human consciousness just as man's human consciousness should be the servant of the higher or superconsciousness. The superconscious mind is the intelligence of the real self overshadowing its human personality. It is a man's touch with the divine. To come into touch with the higher consciousness, the activities of the human consciousness must be settled. For when the mind is controlled, it becomes like a mirror to reflect and record that which comes to it from the higher self. It is the awakening into activity of these unrecognized forces that makes the darkness of the night period so depressing and awful. Each soul must face their darkness alone. Your attention is called to this because scarce one passes through without bitter complaint. Your teacher or your predecessor may hold your hand in his and give you the utmost sympathy the human heart is capable of. But when the silence and darkness comes, you lose all knowledge of him. You are alone and he cannot help you, not because his power is gone, but because you have invoked your great enemy. By your great enemy, I mean yourself. If you have the power to face your own soul in the darkness and silence, you will have conquered the physical or animal self, which dwells in sensation only. When the light of the Christ has illumined your heart and has awakened a recognition of your divine potentialities and possibilities, it must also awaken all the latent propensities in your composite personality, for the same sun which caused the good seed to sprout in the garden of your heart will also stimulate in even greater profusion the growth of the weed, which, unless ruthlessly uprooted, will choke out the life of the good seed. The business then that you must mind is to pull up the weeds or conquer the foes within one by one as they appear. Make no compromise. You must conquer or be overcome. For the very recognition of your divine birthright lashes into fury all those forces of the lower self which have held you in bondage so long. However, while this step brings out every latent fault and also awakens every latent power for good. In fact, you never know what you really are until the light of the Christ has illumined every corner of your being. Oftentimes, the unexpected beauty and strength revealed is quite as overwhelming as the shortcomings. The battle is not one-sided. In fact, he that is with you, your higher self, is greater than he, the personality or lower self, that is against you. When you find this state of depression and lethargy approaching, instead of trying to mind the business of another, understand that it is never another's business. You are to mind nor outside conditions. You are to fight, but the very forces within that are bringing the doubts upon you. The first temptation when confronted by this apparent disillusionment is to pick flaws. First, in the teachings which have so greatly helped heretofore, then in the personalities of others, hoping thereby to excuse your own shortcomings. But you can never find truth or happiness by dissecting it, only by turning your attention to yourself and finding out why you now doubt and criticize that which brought you so much happiness and satisfaction at first. Then to set to work to conquer with a full realization that every one of the awakened forces of the lower self are fighting to overcome the manifestation of the real self and make you sink back once more into the passive condition in which you were but one of the many, and your life but the result of the ebb and flow of the thought currents common to your family and environment, a creature ruled by circumstances and a slave to outward conditions. You never have to fight another's battles, only your own, because your personality is made up of atoms from the entire community and environment in which you dwell. As you overcome your own faults by creating their opposites, you add strength to the power that is striving to conquer the same faults in the whole community. Moreover, you cannot thus sink back without lending your forces to swell the tide that will overwhelm you and all who are near and dear to you. Every time you mind another's business or waste force striving with enemies outside yourself, you are adding strength to the things you would conquer. I've been saying this on my channel forever. Forever! The Christ, speaking through the Master Jesus, has said, "In my Father's house are many mansions. I go to prepare a place for you. And if you go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also." The Christ power is the creative power of divine love that has brought you up out of the darkness and set your feet upon a rock, that has literally gone before you to prepare your path. The place the Christ is preparing for you is not some post-mortem heaven inhabited by beings, suddenly perfected through the experience called death, but is the place, conditions, and personality you are now in. If you have been called by the Christ to face these particular conditions, rest assured that the Christ has gone before to prepare the place for you. But while the mansion or dwelling place is chosen and prepared by the Christ within, still it is you who must furnish and equip and dwell in it. This is the business which you must mind. All worldly dwelling places must be shared by all the elements of confusion which go to make up the personality, a confused and imperfect reflection of the real self. Your real mansion is prepared for you by the Christ. But you can dwell in it, the Christ must come again in your heart and life and receive you unto himself. The first step must be to drive out the aliens who are now dwelling in your mansion. Since the great aim of physical existence is not personal salvation, but the redemption, spiritualization of physical matter and the ultimate evolution of all humanity from its lower and merely human state of consciousness to oneness with the Christ consciousness. Each individual soul finds itself confronted with a certain amount of matter from the various kingdoms, which it is its business to spiritualize and redeem. A certain personality with particular traits, tendencies, passions, and desires, out of which, as raw material, the soul must fashion the furnishings of its mansion in the Father's house. How is this to be accomplished? Here you are concerned with little physical inequities and disquietudes of life, and you ask over and over again, if the Christ has called me to the higher life, why do not conditions immediately change? Why is there anything for me to do but open my heart and receive the blessings promised by the Father? One reason is that if your Father in heaven gave you all the conditions you now deem so necessary, wealth to use for good, leisure to study, opportunity to teach, etc., you would either find that when obtained, they did not satisfy your soul hunger, or that you would sit down exactly as you are today with all your faults and deficiencies nicely covered over and would never recognize them, grow, or advance, and be about your Father's business, the redemption of the world. Hence you must mind your own business, must empty, cleanse, purify, and refurnish your mansion or temple of the living God. That where I am, ye may be also. In other words, to so prepare your mansion that the Father shall dwell with you and the Christ shall be the light thereof. Why then waste time in forced striving for the things of the outer world? Why fret and fume over the little difficulties you meet in preparing your mansion? Why weep and ask for this or that thing? Why not just rest in the thought that the Christ has prepared this place for you and that you must be about your business? Using the materials found in your personality and environment to furnish the dwelling place for him when he returns to take you onto himself. For your Father's business is the redemption of the world, and each apparently separated individuality has a special part of that business to perform. Say this all the time, different words. Each of you have your own problems, and each problem brings you up against your own lower self and forces you to recognize just what it is that keeps your mansion in its unfurnished state. Like Hamlet, so many feel the time is about of joint, of curse spirit, curse spite, that ever I was born to set it right. If you study Hamlet, you will find that in his attempt to set the world aright, he only brought sorrow and suffering to himself and those he loved, and sacrificed not only his personality, but also the personality of others in his misguided attempt. No person has ever been born to set the world aright, except so much of it as he finds expressed in his own personality. If you mind your own business and let the faults of others go, trusting the law to straighten them out and confine yourself to straightening out your own faults, you will realize the joy that comes from such conquering. When you cease to worry over the faults of others, it will be like physical burden rolling from your shoulders. If you have never done this, try it merely as a physical experiment for your own happiness, and the results will prove its truth. The world can never be redeemed by preaching, talking, or even by ministering to the sorrows of others, relieving their distress, building model tenements or libraries, or by changing economic conditions. While all these things are necessary factors that are only really helpful as they are the result of true minding of the business of the Father, recognizing the absolute oneness of all, not only in a metaphysical sense, but also in the personality of the elements composing it. When mankind realizes this, universal brotherhood will be an accomplished fact. You will then realize in a practical way that everything you do to or for another will react upon yourself. Then the injunction, do unto others as you would they should do unto you, will become the law of life. For you will realize that as you do unto others, you literally do unto yourself, that you must share the sorrows and joys, the privations and honors of even your most disdained brothers and sisters. This will not be fighting another's battles or minding another's business, except as your own conquering helps all. It is as though a great building were being erected in which each worker, by strictly minding his own business, which is his part of the great plan, whether he be bricklayer or architect, is making the work of all easier and advancing the completion of the entire structure. Each must share the result of the success or failure of any one to mind his own business. These results can be obtained only by elevating to a higher rate of vibration first, the thought forces, and then the physical conditions of the self, the family, the community. This must be accomplished according to the natural law of harmony. If you were in a congregation which was singing out of tune, the best way to bring about harmony would not to stop the singing and talk about it, but to sing steadily and firmly in perfect tune yourself. Those next to you would catch and spread the harmony until all were singing in tune. It will only be the working out of this law of harmony that will ultimately redeem the round world and all that dwell within it thereon. Only the manifestation of the Christ in your heart and life can bring peace on earth, goodwill toward men. Any line of conduct that really brings peace and goodwill is therefore an expression of the Christ or divine harmony. That was the most ultimate mic effing drop that I could even comprehend. A lot of us are going through this right now as we are in the going into neutrality, doing the divine order of service to God, service to source, the one infinite all that is, the infinite creator, whatever you want to label that as, and dropping away this 3D shit show. And as I'm reading that, the mission that many of us are carrying is very much that is being the model, the example of how you go about integrating what you're learning, the experiences that you're going through are only a guideway to helping others. By me not going into chats and spewing hate anymore and just seeding little seedlings that we're all one and stop hating your other selves and walk in the Christ light, maybe more and more people will start walking in that path. But they give you everything I say. And I'm reading this with you. I never read this section before today. So holy shit validation of all the time, all the things I'm trying to help everybody get. And this dark night of the soul is happening for so many of us. And it's going to keep occurring in different avenues of your life. I know for my own personal self, it's occurring in the career right now in what the hell do I do for 3D fund money? Um, in other avenues of my life, it's always been with relationships and death and my parents and adoption and other things. It's going to be different for you, but we're all walking through some sort of soul and the darkness thereof and the depression and a lot of that. And it's about us transmuting that energy. So be compassionate and graceful with yourself because it's a process. It's not a one and done type of organizational skill. It's not a one and done. It's a perpetuated thing. So this was absolutely freaking mind-blowing. Um, so insightful. These the next chapter is narcotics, alcohol, and psychism. So I think that's one of the big things that they stress in a lot of other books that they have written with alcohol and narcotics um and once again we have to put it in phrase that they were alive during the spiritualism. They are alive during the spiritualism arena where a lot of this stuff was accepted in society and people thrived on going to mediums and seances and a lot of these occulty things. So take that into the back of your mind. This was the age that this book was written. So until that next one, guys. It's a Mike Penguin drop moment. Very insightful. Uh, I'm probably going to do a TikTok on it. Pick a section out that is just things that we all need to learn and heal and hear because I'm saying it, they're saying it, and so many others are as well. I can't do the work for you, but I can help guide you as I have to do the work on myself for myself. And I have an Odin cat. Where are you, Odin? See the little butt that passed by? Yeah, that was Odin. So sending in each of you love light, compassion, grace, shielding, and protective energy. Please go within. Be the shoulder. Be the lighthouse. Seed your truths. If you're interested in the raffle, go to my community tab where all that information is to enter yourself to win a lovely pyramid. I have a paint and sip with Mr. Gnome and a wintry scene. I haven't figured out the date and time of that because I have to figure out what's going on during my break. But keep on those tabs. I know a lot of people don't read their community tab stuff, but it's there information wise. Check out my channeled membership. It's only at 3D at the moment. It's just a way to contribute and support the channel and keep me going. I'm not these big time over 100,000 subscriber deals. Little channel. So any little thing helps. I do appreciate everybody that has already became a member. Thank you so much. My gratitude to everybody who has been helping me financially and with just abundance and just giving me well wishes and prayers. Thank you so much. I truly do appreciate each and every one of you. And until the next time, guys, see you on the next one. Bye for now and have a blessed and beautiful day.